Alright, I actually updated the corner spot where it says Chapter 1 now says Chapter 8. So we are on John Barleycorn, or Alcoholic Memoirs by Jack London, Chapter 8, with this weird sound rig that I could do voice changes.
Oh my. John Barleycorn. Anywho, here we go. Let's see.
There it goes. Haha. Alright, John Barleycorn, Chapter 8. We met by appointment, early Monday morning to complete the deal, in Johnny Heinhold's Last Chance, a saloon, of course, for the transactions of men. I paid the money over, received the bill of sale, and French franc treated. This struck me as an evident custom, as a logical one. The seller, who receives the money, to wet a piece of it in the establishment where the trade was consummated. But to my surprise, French franc treated the house. He and I drank, which seemed just, but why should Johnny Heinhold, who owned the saloon and waited behind the bar, be invited to drink? I figured it immediately that he made a profit on the very drink he drank. I could, in a way, considering they were friends and shipmates, understand Spider and Whiskey Bob being asked to drink, but why should the longshoremen, Bill Kelly and Soup Kennedy, be asked? Then there was Pat, the Queen's brother, making a total 8 of us. It was clearly morning and all ordered whiskey. What could I do here in the company of big men, all drinking whiskey? Whiskey, I said, with the carelessness air of one who had said it 1,000 times. And such whiskey. I tossed it down. Ugh! I can taste it yet. And I was appalled at the price French franc had paid, 80 cents. 80 cents! It was an outrage to my thrifty soul. 80 cents, the equivalent of 8 long hours of my toil at the machine, gone down our throats. And gone like that, in a twinkling, leaving only a bad taste in the mouth. There was no discussion that French franc was a waster. I was anxious to be gone, out into the sunshine, out over the water to my glorious boat. But all hands lingered, even Spider, my crew, lingered. No hint broke through my obtuseness of why they lingered. I've often thought since of how they must have regarded me, the newcomer, being welcomed into their company, standing at bar with them, not standing for a single round of drinks. French franc, for who, unknown to me, had swallowed his chagrin since the day before, now that the money for the razzle-dazzle was in his pocket, began to behave curiously towards me. I sensed the change in his attitude, saw the forbidding glitter in his eyes, and wondered. The more I saw of men, the queerer they became. Johnny Heinhold leaned across the bar and whispered in my ear, "He's got it in for you. Watch out." I nodded comprehension of his statement and acquiescent in it, as a man should nod who knows all about men, but secretly I was perplexed. Heavens, how was I, who had worked hard and read books of adventure, and who was only 15 years old, who had not dreamed of giving the Queen of the Oyster Pirates a second thought, and who did not know that French franc was madly and Latinly in love with her, how was I to guess that the story of how the Queen had thrown him down on his own boat the moment I hove in sight was already the gleeful gossip of the waterfront? And by the same token, how was I to guess that her brother Pat's offishness with me was anything else than temperamental gloominess of spirit? Whiskey Bob got me aside a moment. "Keep your eyes open," he muttered. "Take my tip, French franc's ugly. I'm going up river with him to get a schooner for oystering. When he gets down on the beds, watch out. He says he'll run you down. After dark, any time he's around, change your anchorage and douse your riding light. Savvy?" Oh, I certainly savvied. I nodded my head, and as one man to another, thanked him for his tip, and drifted back to the group at the bar. No, I did not treat. I never dreamed that I was expected to treat. I left with Spider, and my ears burn now as I try to surmise the things they must have said about me. I asked Spider in an offhand way, what was eating French franc? "He's crazy jealous of you," was the answer. "Do you think so?" I said, and dismissed the matter as not worth thinking about. But I leave it to anyone, the swell of my 15 years old manhood, at learning that French franc, the adventurer of 50, the sailor of all the seas of all the world, was jealous of me. And jealous over a girl most romantically named the Queen of the Oyster Pirates? I had read of such thing in books and regarded them as personal probabilities of a distant maturity. Oh, I felt a rare young devil as we hoisted the big mainsail that morning, broke out anchor, and filled away, close-hauled on the 3-mile boat, beat to windward out into the bay. Such was my escape from the killing machine toil and my introduction to the oyster pirates. True, the introduction had begun with drink, and the life promised to continue with drink. But was I to stay away from it for such reason? Wherever life ran free and great, there men drank. Romance and adventure seemed always to go down the street locked arm in arm with John Barleycorn. To know the two, I must know the third, or else I must go back to my free library books and read the deeds of other men, and do no deeds of my own, save slave for 10 cents an hour at a machine in a cannery. No, I was not to be deterred from this brave life on the water by the fact that the water dwellers had queer and expensive desires for beer and wine and whiskey. What if their notions of happiness included the strange one of seeing me drink? When they persisted in buying the stuff and thrusting it upon me, why I would drink it. It was the price. I would pay for their comradeship, and I didn't have to get drunk. I had not got drunk the Sunday afternoon I arranged to buy the razzle-dazzle, despite the fact that not one of the rest was sober. Well, I could go on the future that way, drinking the stuff when it gave them pleasure, that I should drink it, but carefully avoiding